Hello, fellow readers. 'Tis I, the Rumpled One. All Marketers Are Liars by Seth Godin. This is a great book. Really is. I really enjoyed reading it. It only took me 2 days. It's one of those, I couldn't put it down. Because if you've been watching my videos, you know I've been searching for why I buy things that I don't need sometimes, or why do I even waste my time looking at things I know I don't need because I already have them, like pocket knives and backpacks and winter coats. This book kind of explains it. And the whole idea is, he says, you know, all marketers really aren't liars, but when you see this book title, it compels you to pick it up and figure it out. Why? Because you want to know the story. And he says that's the whole idea behind marketing, is that you tell a story and then people, the consumers, make it their own lie. Well, what he means by that is when I go and I see this knife, what story am I telling myself? That if I have that knife, then I'm going to be able to do something. Maybe I can show it to my friends and impress them. Or maybe this knife's going to save my life in a survival situation. Or I have this knife because it's lighter, or it's sharper, or it's harder than the other knives, and I don't have one that's good. So having this knife is going to make my life better in some way. That's the internal story or lie I tell myself, because really deep down inside, you know, so long as it's sharp and it cuts and doesn't fall apart, a knife is a knife is a knife. But let me share some of the quotes from this book, because I really did enjoy reading it. And in fact, the cool thing is you can get this book, download the PDF for free on the internet. And that's part of his story. Okay, page 23. Sometimes marketing is so powerful it can actually change the worldview of someone who experiences it. But no marketing succeeds if it can't find an audience that already wants to believe the story being told. Now, as most of you probably know who've been watching my videos, you know I trade the markets, foreign exchange market and the stock market. Well, in there's these stories that people tell. Mainly I talk about the squiggly line indicators, because people want to believe in those indicators. It's a story that they tell, and they lie to themselves, because price only goes up and down. It doesn't go sideways, you know. But people want to believe in some of the myths, the trend. You know, the trend is your friend. Don't trade against the trend. It's a myth. It's a story we want to tell, because we can look at historical pictures and draw some lines and go, see, if you had done this. But we all know you got to trade on the right edge of the chart, where it hasn't been written and anything can happen. But it's a story that likes to be told. Okay, moving on. Page 33. Don't try to change someone's worldview is the strategy smart marketers follow. Don't try to use facts to prove your case and to insist that people change their biases. You don't have enough time and you don't have enough money. Instead, identify a population with a certain worldview, frame your story in terms of that worldview, and you win. Now, I'm sure if you're here watching my video, in your inbox, you probably get some spam, some advertisements. And sometimes these things are long and they're telling a story. This is why. Because if they can get your attention, they capture you, you start to listen to the story, then you start to nod your head. Next thing you know, you're buying it. I mean, this whole thing, this marketing, this power of persuasion, I'm finding it to be very fascinating how these guys have realized how the human mind works, and then how to work it. I mean, we really are being worked over. I mean, yesterday's Super Bowl, I didn't even watch the Super Bowl, but go Sea Chickens. But the funny thing is that people spent millions of dollars for 30 seconds of airtime just to tell you their story. I mean, that's what it's all about. Page 81. The only way to change minds is to somehow get past the filters and safeguards that people erect to insulate themselves from opposing points of view, and then to tell a story that spreads. And in today's political climate, these stories are far more expensive than they ever were before. I mean, politicians spend millions of dollars to get elected. I mean, isn't there something wrong with that picture? But the bottom line is, if you're a diehard Republican, you ain't voting for a Democrat. And if you're a diehard Democrat, you ain't voting for a Republican. Your worldview's not going to change. It's not going to change with facts. Even if that Democrat has been shown to tell lies, you're still going to vote for that person over the Republican. It's just that simple. You just can't change somebody's worldview. Or it's very difficult and, like you said, very expensive to do so. Moving on, page 105. Marketing isn't the problem. Marketing is just a tool. People are the problem. People with short-term pressures and greedy, selfish goals. But it's not just the people in marketing who are responsible. Consumers are complicit as well. When they refuse to spend a few minutes understanding side effects and buy a story instead, consumers aren't acting as adults. They're just pawns. But when I see how some marketers misuse their sophisticated tools, trading long-term health and benefits to large populations in exchange for a few dollars, it makes me embarrassed to be a marketer. I mean, all those sugary cereals, we all know aren't good, but moms go out, the kids see the ads, they cry for it, so they give Johnny the Fruit Loops to keep him from crying. I mean, once again, it's just marketing. It's just, to me, it really is fascinating, because once again, how they can get us to do things that we know has long-term ill effects, but for somehow we just say, well, we'll worry about that later. Moving on to page 108. I really like this part. I'm proposing a simple test for separating the honest stories from the deceitful ones. It revolves around two questions the consumer should ask the marketer. If I knew what you know, would I choose to buy what you sell? And after I've used this and experienced it, will I be glad I believe the story, or will I feel ripped off? I mean, those questions are great. I mean, think about it. You're sitting in negotiations with somebody over maybe a car, possibly a house, or any other big ticket item. Maybe it's not even that big ticket item. Maybe it's something like life insurance, health insurance, car insurance. And you just look them straight in the eye. And you say, if I knew what you know right now, would I buy this? And then you could just see how they react. I bet you'd see them squirm. I can't wait to try it myself on somebody. Okay, moving on. Page 110. Telling people that they've believed a lie for a long time is no way to make friends. If it's a good lie, a lie that led people to enjoy themselves or to be productive, then taking that lie away is actually harmful. I hesitated to write a book about lies just because we love these lies so much. There is no Santa Claus, there is no Tooth Fairy, there is no Easter Bunny, you know? But I mean, we spread those lies. And that's why when you expose the wrongdoings of local or state or federal elected officials, they attack you. They don't want you to out them. The lie that they've been spreading. The lie that people have been believing. And you see, when you tell the truth, you don't make any friends. I know this firsthand. In fact, I'm going to go to a city council meeting tonight and probably tell a truth or two and make even less friends. Okay, finally, page 153. It turns out that cotton is a disaster. More toxic pesticides are used to grow cotton than almost any other agricultural product. The cotton industry receives more federal subsidies than any other crop, and it is amazingly concentrated. It is an amazingly concentrated industry. 80% of the money handed out by the government goes to just 10% of the growers. Cotton creates far more environmental and social side effects than almost any crop grown. At the same time, high-tech fibers are lighter, cooler, easier to care for, and far less damaging to the environment. So why haven't we all switched? That's something I don't know. I guess I'll have to check out this fact. But I don't doubt the part that 80% of the money goes to 10% of the growers. I mean, we all know that big business, agribusiness, gets subsidies that, hey, they shouldn't. Why should they? That's my money going to some big business, and your money too. So anyway, all marketers are liars. I highly recommend this book for everybody, even if you're not into marketing. But it basically says, if you want to get the word out, tell a good story, and then people will repeat your story.